Hi there, and welcome to a new episode of RealLife DevTalks with me, Hannah, and David.
Hello.
And today, for episode 6, we're talking about smart outsourcing and how you can outsource software development. So let's start out. What is outsourcing, David?
Yeah, well, outsourcing is basically you pay someone else to do your work and watch your vision and whatnot and make it a reality. It's basically what a lot of big corporations do. They outsource to India, to Pakistan, Eastern Europe, and whatnot. And then you get some work back and you look at it and you see if that was what you wanted, and if it wasn't, you say the requirements, what needs to be changed, and then you look at it again, and that's outsourcing. So basically outsourcing your work instead of you doing the work. So
yeah,
and with that you can scale much faster in a level that you wouldn't do on your own. So that's the benefits of outsourcing, but there's also a lot of cons, and that we will get into.
Yes.
So what are the pros and cons, would you say?
I think for a company, it's definitely that you can hire people with skills in other countries where maybe the salary requirements are not as high because the cost of living is lower. So you can, for example, hire a software developer in some country and pay them a less salary than someone from a more high-cost living country. That's the first, I guess, pro for the company. For you as a person, like if you were to hire someone to do your work and outsource that, I can see that the advantage would be that you're not an employer in that sense, that you need to take care of employees or anything. You're basically agreeing on a price, and that's it. I'm thinking about platforms such as Fiverr when I say this.
Well, also one important thing about this that we definitely want to talk about in this episode is because we ourselves thought about this outsourcing, because we are both full-time employees as a software engineer, and we just we have some ideas of different applications we want to be a reality, but with the time we have, it will be difficult for us. So we considered outsourcing could be an option to still make it a reality. And that's definitely one of the pros, that outsourcing is out there that can help us.
A lot of productivity gurus on YouTube and on social media in general, they're always talking about how to, value your own time and make sure that you don't do work that you could pay someone for and pay them less than what you could possibly earn or do otherwise.
Yeah, because we are earning money full time more than if we outsource it to someone else. If we outsource something that will cost us more than what we make, okay, then it does make sense. Then it makes more sense doing the work yourself and use the time. But if we have the time, like the time we can use to make more money, then you pay someone, then it just makes sense.
Yeah, I guess it's also not just about money in that sense. It's also about maybe investing your time in trying to start something, such as like if you have a dream of a YouTube channel or something like that, and then you can, outsource work in your home, maybe hire a cleaning help, and then instead of cleaning or cooking even, you can put that time into your YouTube channel, for example.
Yeah, and that's a good point you said with the cleaning and cooking stuff, because that's outsourcing too. What I said before, that was only in a developer's perspective, but outsourcing it so much, it can also be outsourced. Basically, when your car is broken and you get it to a repair shop, that's outsourcing. You're outsourcing the work to someone else.
Yeah.
So that's basically outsourcing. But also one of the benefits of outsourcing is also just like you said with YouTube, if you have a dream to make a YouTube channel or you have a dream to make an app, it's very difficult to start out doing this. It requires a lot of it requires a lot of you to get that kick and start going and start like doing just the first little step. And outsourcing can help you there, because they do the difficult work, like you have to make some decisions, but they make it happen, and then you can easily start the flow, because now you have something you can work with.
Yeah, I think it's also when you work full-time as a software developer, maybe I know a lot of people don't seem to mind, sitting and coding in the evening as well, but it could be pretty hard, both mentally, like draining energy-wise, but also not very good maybe for your body to sit in front of a computer the whole day and also the whole evening. So, paying someone to do that and still see progress in your projects, while you still have the knowledge to evaluate if the work is good or not, or what you want to have improved in case something is lacking.
Yeah, and that's the definitely benefit if you are a developer, because a lot of people they have all kind of ideas and they want an app and whatnot, but they don't have the technology background and as a developer, so they outsource it. And then it ends up being a lot of stuff going wrong, or they say like this takes longer than because something happened, but they don't know why does it take longer. They don't know what is wrong precisely, so it's very difficult for them to say precise to developer what they need to do, or what is what are they doing, like missing out, because they don't have the knowledge, and then suddenly it becomes a lot more expensive than it was supposed to be. Where this is where our advantages are, because we have the developer knowledge, we have the technology knowledge, so we can actually go in and see as a developer what's going on, what are they working on, what's this code, and we can continue to work after if we decide, okay, now we're ready to continue this on our own. Did we outsource enough? We can continue, and then later on we can continue to outsourcing when we don't have time or whatnot. So that's definitely a big advantage of having the knowledge when you outsource.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's also possible to evaluate, the problems or solutions, I guess, that the person working on the project is suggesting. Like they're saying, oh, this is taking a lot of time because of this and this. But then if you have the knowledge, maybe you can say, oh, but why are you not doing it this way instead? That would be much easier. So I guess that's also an advantage. But let's move on to finding the right fit, like in terms of if you want to hire a team or maybe just one person. Where would you start out? Where to find?
Yeah, but it's, like you said before, there's the website called Fiverr, another one called Upwork. I mean, there's a lot of websites out there, but as my knowledge, the biggest ones are Fiverr and Upwork. And Fiverr is kind of like budget outsourcing, and then Upwork is more quality outsourcing, so it's more expensive than Fiverr. And I believe companies also use more Upwork than Fiverr. But Fiverr is a good way to start out if you are low budget.
How does it work with the price? Do you suggest a price and then people respond, or do they offer?
Yeah, so there's different. On Upwork, it's like you put a posting up, and then people come and offer a price. And you come up with a price, what you think it's worth, and then they say like what they think it's worth. I think you can also put it up without putting a price on, but there's a lot of negotiation when you do this on Fiverr too. Fiverr, you don't put a posting up, but you you search for, let's say you need an application, React application, then you search for React developer, and then you can see it's like Google searching. Then you see lots of people with portfolios, ratings, like kind of like Airbnb also. And then you pick them, and then you look at them, and then you write to them, hey, I have this project, I have these requirements. Do you think you can solve this, and how much do you think it will cost? And then they usually come up with an absurd high number, and then you say, no, this is too much. You only need to do this. And then they said, okay, well, I can go a little lower. And then if it's still high, then you say, okay, you can remove this functionality because it's you don't need to do that to start off with and whatnot. And that this is the problem where outsourcing comes, because if you think outsourcing is just, okay, you press a button, it will happen, you pay someone to do it, and they will deliver perfectly product, it doesn't work like that. First, you need to find the right candidate. Look at all this list write to them, see if they even understand the task. That's the first thing. So a good tactic to do is first you have a PDF folder of the bullet points of the requirements, and then you ask them to read it, and then you ask them to elaborate what the task is, and then you can quickly see some people don't even read it. Like that's the thing you got to watch out with when you outsource, because a lot of these people, they just want to work, they just want the money, and they don't really care about like the task yet. They just want the deal. So they don't even read what's going on, and then they say, yeah, I can do it, I'll fix it, I'll do it. And then you give them a task, you believe that they can do it, and then they can't do shit. And then you end up with a solution that doesn't work at all, and then you need to go through all this dispute thing where you need to refund, you need to explain why they can't solve it, why they didn't solve it, and that's horrible, but that's part of it. So, but there's a lot of people out there that's really good. So it's just a matter of figuring it out. You're the company now, you're the employer, so
yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say that there is any difference to this dispute process between Upwork and Fiverr? Is it easier on one platform?
Fiverr is definitely a lot easier. Upwork it's really hassle, but it's Upwork, they want a huge fee to get a second middleman, or what you say, like a second person to come in and look at the case. Fiverr is they don't want any fees for the middle person, but usually you try to figure out between you and the freelancer. And if it doesn't work, then there's a middle person that comes in and have to look into it. And Upwork is I think Upwork is the worst to dispute. But I have done it several times and it worked. But it was a long case where you had to explain very thoroughly why they didn't solve it properly, and they could see it and stuff. But it takes time. So. But all the times I had issues with people, it's usually I never had any issues getting the money back. It just takes time and it takes work, because you need to explain the whole thing of why they cannot solve it. So, but it's part of it. I have lots of experience, so I'm ready. But you shouldn't. If you think outsource also sometimes can save you time, it can actually, it suddenly just become manager, basically. That's like what you become. And then suddenly that's your full-time job or something, and you have to figure this out for all these, writing to them constantly, and
Do you usually have syncs with?
It's up to you. You can say that you can also do meetings with them, but it's not somehow a lot of them don't want to talk in like camera and stuff. But we have done that before, so we have it depends on how big the project is. But then we have weekly meetings with them and stuff. But it's as long as you keep communicating with them and ask them to show what you've done, then it's that solves the issue. But a lot of them also, they have several projects at the same time. So you give them a deadline, and then I notice usually they don't do anything until the deadline is very close. So if you ask them to show something, so if you ask them to show something, they don't have anything yet until the deadline is closer. So what I learned is just even though you don't need the projects yet or something, you just need to put a deadline that's closer than what you actually need it for. And you actually also need to do that because almost, I think 80-90% of the time I've done outsourcing, they're always late or something. So, or they're not late, but what they delivered wasn't properly done, and then they need to redo it, and then it becomes late. So
right.
But yeah.
What's a good buffer to have, you think, in your experience?
Like how with deadlines, or it really depends on the project. It's really how big you are talking about. But if it's, let's say it's a report or something, 1 week is fine. If it's like a 20-page report or something.
Yeah.
Or a 2-week max. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. The app I'm working on also. I haven't done a lot of, I have done some apps, but yeah.
I guess when you get the work, if it was an app, for example, do you get certain amount of time to review it?
Yeah, you do. They give you usually 2-3 days to review it, and you can ask to. I'm talking about Fiverr only. Upwork, I only had 2 outsources where I did that, but they all usually give you time to review. So, but yeah, it's definitely about all giving clear expectations to them, and do quality control. That's you should really expect that when you outsource. And I guess it's the same when you also pay a kind of like a carpenter or whatnot for your home. It's kind of the same, because you can't just expect that you have to do this and then you just leave them. Like you need to check up that miscommunication didn't happen, or and requirements were the right, they understood it and whatnot.
Yeah. What about like legal implication? For example, if you want them to make an app, or you want someone to make an app for you, and maybe they think, oh, this is a great idea in this app, I'm gonna, release it myself.
I think there's actually, if you do it through Fiverr and Upwork though, it's pretty precise. They have like these template contracts, so it's pretty safe. But if you do it directly with him without a contract, then there's some issues. But I never, no, I wouldn't worry about it. So,
are there any other costs than the upfront cost? Or you just pay in one go for the project?
Sometimes,
once you
sometimes they want more money if if you've been doing redos a lot, if then they want more money. But it's like, then if you had to do so many redos, I usually, from my experience, it's better to just close it down, get the refund, and then find another person, because it's not going to get any better. It's actually, I noticed a lot that if there's a lot of like misunderstandings, a lot of stuff going wrong, or not delivered properly, it's just better finding another freelancer and not continuing with that. But of course, it depends how big the project is. If they are really into it and it's a big project and they've been working on it for several months or something, it's better to maybe continue with that. But from my experience, it's usually been very short term, and then it's better to just change up freelancer. But yeah, that's it with at least freelancing, and outsourcing. What do you think?
Yeah, very exciting. I think we're going to try it out potentially, and then we'll have a follow-up episode on how it went.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So thanks for listening today, and stay tuned for next week's episode. See you.
Hit that follow button.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.